Hello, I'm Hannah Bell, deacon at Fifth Avenue Presbyterian Church. Our story begins in 1808 as this congregation pursued a faithful Christian ministry on behalf of the city that we love and the world we aspire to serve. Now known as Fifth Avenue Presbyterian Church, we were founded in Lower Manhattan on Cedar Street. Over the next 6 decades, we would move north 3 times, along with the changing trajectory of an exploding New York City, finally settling in the crossroads of Fifth Avenue and 55th Street in 1875. The classically Gothic exterior was constructed of brown sandstone. A biblically based mosaic by Eugene Savage adorns the entry archway. At the pinnacle of the arch are praying hands, pointing outward to show the serving which follows true worship. The bronze handles on the glass doors were struck in the form of a cross. Yes, this 1,800-seat space looks more like an amphitheater than a church. Architect Carl Pfeiffer certainly understood his mandate to create a space to support a preaching pulpit. Of Victorian Gothic orientation, it is actually a building within a building, blocking the sounds of Fifth Avenue and controlling the interior climate. Additional acoustical support is provided with the dome-like stenciled ceiling, pews fanning outward facing the pulpit, and even a center aisle swooshing us toward the gospel pulpit. For over 200 years, dynamic preachers and speakers from all over the world have guided our path in joining us to make a meaningful difference in the world as faithful disciples of Christ. Look at the pews. Kimball and Cabus designed the pews, made of durable, light-colored ash, now mellowed to this warm hue, with quatrefoils carved into each post. Look at the stained glass windows, which are well-preserved examples of the mid-19th century aesthetic movement with floral and geometric design. Glance upward to view the choir loft and the 7,000 pipe organ, the mighty Austin, dramatically updated in 2015 with a new console and renovated choir loft. One of our 4 choirs regularly leads our joyful congregational singing in our worship services. The surprise beneath our sanctuary is the vibrant Ladane Williamson Center for Christian Education, dug out of some 20 feet of Manhattan schist in the early 21st century. The surprise above our sanctuary is the clock tower, with its original clockwork still wound by hand. And no, we do not have a bell tower. Out of courtesy to the patients in the former hospital across 55th Street, we did not ring our chimes. Enter the second worship space, completed in 1925 by the noted architect James Gamble Rogers. The interior of this Kirkland chapel was made to feel like a small parish church, darker and more mystical in the feeling than our sanctuary. Above the balcony is an exquisite window featuring Christ surrounded by 7 archangels. Designer G. Owen Bonowitz stained glass windows reflect an Art Deco style with a 20th century interpretation of religious imagery depicted for centuries in the cathedrals of Europe. In the past 40 years, the art in the chapel has shifted to reflect the multicultural dimensions of the congregation and of Christianity itself. John Howard Sandin's Portrait of Christ, John August Swanson's The Last Supper, Praying at Yosemite by Huh Chi, and the Sermon on the Mount by Laura James. The chapel accommodates almost 200 people for smaller worship services and concerts. Beneath this chapel space is the volunteer-managed Skinner Shelter for the Homeless. accommodating guests year-round since 1987. Each and every Sunday, our story continues at Fifth Avenue Presbyterian Church as faithful disciples of Christ, expanding in love, fellowship, and service to meet the challenges of the city that we love and the world we aspire to serve. Thank you for touring the crossroads of our grand house of God.